Good evening. I'd like to call to order the, I'm looking at minutes that say August, so I better come back to the right month. September 21st, 2015, Lake Washington School District Board of Directors meeting. And all board members are in attendance, and we've just come from a study session. And our topic tonight was talking about communications and community engagement, an update for the board. So I will entertain from board members a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're going to do recognition. Do you want me to do this first? Do you want to say something first?
We'll do foundation, then we'll do them third.
Third. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so as Jackie said, we have 3 items for recognition this evening. So first, I'd like to welcome Minerva Butler and Sarah Stone from the Lake Washington Schools Foundation, who are here to present this evening.
Can we give them an applause for all they do, please?
Sure can. You come right.
I mean, great support and activity for the. Oh, Tracy. Is that what these are too?
Okay, great.
The handwriting's the same.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Last school year, the foundation raised a record amount of donations, and I would like to thank the foundation's Board of Trustees, Advisory Council, our community partners, PTSA, private foundations, local businesses, and the numerous volunteers for their hard work and efforts to connect resources with identified needs. In addition, I want to thank the school board, Dr. Pierce and her leadership team for their support and partnership. The foundation is dedicated to the district's vision of every student future ready, and the foundation supports the district through our 3 funding priorities: future ready skills, quality teaching and leadership, and equal access to educational opportunities. This year, the foundation is proud to grant over $300,000 in 2015-16 grant awards, a 30% increase over the prior year. $156,200 for future-ready programs, K-12 STEM, AVID, Kindergarten Readiness, and Reaching for Success school grants, $125,500 for Equal Access to Educational Opportunities programs, fully funding the Links Mentoring and Academic Tutoring Program, the Access Fund in partnership with InvestEd for individual student scholarships in secondary school, and the Safe School Ambassadors Program in our middle and high schools. Finally, $18,000 for quality teaching and leadership for the new teacher support in the second year program. Tonight, we would like to present the grants checks to Dr. Pierce. Finally, the foundation's spring fundraising will include 2 events this year: a luncheon on April 20th and a breakfast on April 27th. Both events will be held at the Redmond Town Center Marriott and include a very generous in-kind contribution from the Marriott, our newest corporate partner. We're thrilled to partner with them this year in our pursuit of raising even more funds for the students in the Lake Washington School District. Thank you.
I want to thank both of you on behalf of the board, but also personally for all the work that you do, having been involved a few years ago as with you all at the meetings and stuff, and in the planning and watching the growth over the years and the success, and obviously this year even better than last. So thank you very much for your continued support. It's volunteer time and much appreciated. So please share our thank yous with your entire board.
And before we move on to the next item, I'm going to pass these checks down. Our Director of Business Services, Barbara Postunas, is here, and we're going to give them directly to Barbara this evening. Thanks so much.
What was the date for the luncheon again?
April 20th for the luncheon?
April 20th for the luncheon and April 27th for a breakfast.
For a breakfast, and both at the Redmond Marriott. I have it on my list.
Great. Thank you.
Looking forward to details on what will be happening. So again, thank you. And our next recognition?
Yeah, so we're very pleased this evening that Dawn McCutcheon from the American Heart Association is here this evening. So welcome, Dawn.
Thank you. My name is Dawn McCutcheon, and I am the Youth Market Director for Northwestern Washington for the American Heart Association. I'm also a survivor of cardiac arrest at age 38, 6 years ago, in a couple weeks. I'm also a parent in the Lake Washington School District, and I have kids at Eastlake and Inglewood. And one of the things I wanted to do today is to share our successes that Dr. Pierce and I have worked together as community partners in our schools for the last 3 years, going on our 4th school year. But one of the things that I really wanted to share with the board and all those present is why we're doing the work that we're doing in the schools. And thank you, Mr. Holman, for helping me to pull this up. There's a minute video that I'd like to show you that I really feel like sums up why we do what we do, if that's okay. Is there sound? No sound.
Probably would
Oh, there
make
it goes.
a time machine. I would make medicine for the sick. I'd probably invent something new.
我会赢到5个总冠军戒指。
If I could have an extra 5 years to live.
You said 5, right?
5 years. It's a long time.
I would try to fix everything I did bad.
I would bring my uncle back because I miss him very much.
I would get more hamsters.
I would probably want to go looking for dark matter. I think I'd go looking for aliens. If I could live an extra 5 years.
I was thinking about making like a helicopter, like a wooden helicopter, but I don't have any wood.
I want to go check out the moon sometime.
I love
I'd
kids.
probably teach my sister not to hate tuna.
I would try and invent a machine that lets you run at light speed.
If I had 5 more extra years to live.
I would be the boss of all the chipmunks.
Eu cantaria na frente de 1 milhão de pessoas.
I don't really know. I think I'd do anything. Why are you asking me that?
Pretty powerful. Had anybody seen that video before? It's been circulating. I hadn't seen it until a couple weeks ago, actually, after our meeting, Tracy, and I thought that was for me, that sums up why I do the work that I do. It inspires me, but it also terrifies me as the mom of 2 teenagers. So in the last 3 years, Lake Washington, when I came on board in this role, I looked at, of course, my home district first. Although I cover Blaine to Auburn, I started where I live and looked at our participation in the American Heart Association programs. Do I need to?
I'm sorry for the Are you on your PowerPoint slide
Yes.
now? Okay, so I think something's happened to the system because
There it is. So our goal as an organization is to, by 2020, to reduce cardiovascular health of all Americans by 20% while reducing deaths by 20%. And in order to do that, our school programs are very, very important. This was a slide as to why, but I think the video did a much better job than the slide would ever do, so I'll skip through it. These are the programs that we have as part of the American Heart Association, specifically in Lake Washington School District. Our most successful and robust program is with the Jump Rope for Heart program at the elementary schools. We have Hoops for Heart in the middle school, and we have our high school program that we actually started here in the Lake Washington School District. We were the first district to have all of the high schools participate in this program at all of the Western United States. Specifically, Redmond High School is going into their 3rd year of the Color Run for Heart here at Redmond Town Center in the spring. It's a very messy event, but it's led 100% with my guidance and the leadership teachers' guidance by the leadership students of Redmond High School, and it's a community event, and they've just been amazing. And then CPR in schools is something that we've been lobbying for that was passed the year before last, and that was one of the things that we took Kids at Eastlake High School from the AP government class, we took a bus load down to Lobby Day last January, took them on the tour of the Capitol, and they had one-on-one meetings with representatives, senators, to present and help get past CPR in schools, and then the next year, pulse ox screening for infants. And they are going again this year in February to work on hopefully changing the smoking age from 18 to 21 like Hawaii did. So we're engaging our high school students in this district in a way that is not happening in any other districts. So another thing I'm very proud of from working with Dr. Pierce. We were #1 in the state this year for the first time. We doubled our participation and we doubled our revenue because of the strategies that Dr. Pierce and I put into place with the help of Mr. Holman. And not only that, and I think this was the slide, Tracy, you were most excited about, we were #5 in all the western states. And if you check out the school districts that were above us, they're humongous school districts compared to us. So we're in pretty darn good company. So that is why I'm here today, is to present an award to the district, and specifically to Dr. Pierce, for outstanding achievement in support of the American Heart Association's efforts in cardiovascular science, education, and our community programs.
Thank you so much. I feel like we should be giving you the award, Dawn, for all of your efforts, and the award should go to our teachers
Yes.
for all of their efforts, and our principals
Are any
as
PE
well.
teachers
So-
here? I don't recognize anybody. I did invite them to come, but they've had long days.
Okay, so-
But if you do have a PE teacher that you know, please thank them. They work very hard on the Jump Rope for Heart program, and hopefully we will continue to grow in the district.
That's great. Thanks so much. And as Dawn said, she and I have been meeting at least once. We meet twice a year.
Twice a year, yeah.
To set goals and talk about how we can continue to get the word out with schools and increase participation. So I really appreciate all of your efforts, and it's great to see that they're paying off, and ultimately to the benefit of our students, which is why we're doing it.
And it is paying off. I mean, it's something that's going to be hard to see for a few years, but I can tell you as a community member that people are more aware of the issue. They know specifically, they know where AEDs are at our school. And I know of at least 2 incidences in our community where school students or parents used AEDs to save a life in the last year. So we are making a difference in our district, and we'll see that as we keep going. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Very nice award. Congratulations to the district for all their work as well
Take a look there.
on this.
Take a look.
And our third recognition is, in case people didn't know, it is Food Literacy Month.
So we'll why don't we let Jackie read the proclamation, and then we've got Barbara Posthumus, our Director of Business Services, and Darren Helfrecht. I said all right, our new Food Services Director from Sodexo, here to talk a little bit tonight about our Nutrition Services Program.
Wonderful. And I'm going to read we have 2 proclamations in front of me. One, actually, the governor has also written a proclamation for the month for the state, but I'm going to read the Lake Washington School District proclamation. And whereas food literacy is defined as the understanding of the impact of food choices on health, community, and environment, and whereas a broad approach to nutritional and culinary education is vital to ensure that students make healthier food choices, and whereas schools play an important role in promoting health through sharing and promoting food literacy information, and whereas the objective of Food Literacy Month is to promote food education, inspire food choices that are good for people and good for the planet, encourage parental involvement, and motivate community-wide support. Therefore, we, the members of the Lake Washington School District Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2015 as Food Literacy Month in the Lake Washington School District.
Well, before I introduce Darren, I just wanted to take a few minutes to say that, Jackie, as you read that, I think it's important to note that Many of our educators help support the concept of food literacy. We heard just about our PE teachers and the work that they do. We have many health teachers who help teach about nutrition and good food choices. We've got great culinary programs, so there's lots of educators that are working towards this goal. One of the other opportunities that we have on a daily basis with students making food choices and getting nutrition education is through our nutrition services program. So we wanted to give Darren Helfrecht, who is our new nutrition services director, a chance to tell you some of the things that nutrition services is doing to help promote healthy choices for kids and nutrition education. Darren is our new director of nutrition services. He has over 20 years of experience in the food services industry. He's been in schools in California, Montana, and here in Washington, he was in both Ferndale and Mukilteo. In addition to Darren, we have Barbara Posthumus. Barbara is our Director of Business Services, and Barbara is the person in the district who's responsible for working with our nutrition services program. She oversees that program and helps support them on a daily basis. So I'm going to let Darren come forward and give you a little bit of information about some of the things that they're doing to help promote food literacy.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. A real pleasure. It's great to be in the district. I've been in here just about a month now, and so it's by a fire hose, learning the job. But it is fun, and it's interesting that this is Food Literacy Month because truly that's every month for us. That's really what we focus on, and one of the biggest things that we've had. Our program has really been shaken up since 2010. That was when we introduced the Healthy Hunger Free Act of 2010. And what I did is I provided tonight with the brochure that we shared at our elementary level. This went out at the beginning of the year. And I think it does a really good job at telling you a little bit about the National School Lunch Program, some of the regulations that are there. The key is the goals of the HHFKA is improving nutrition. They're really looking to reduce childhood obesity and then increasing access to school meals. That's the goal. And then what they're really focused on is increasing exposure to and the consumption of fruits and vegetables. So we've seen a big change in what we're offering and how we're offering on the fruits and vegetables. We're also replacing the simple carbohydrates with the whole grains. We're a lot more whole grains in the program. And then there's also measures that we're taking to decrease the sodium. So it is a challenge. I mean, I think when you're shifting a lot of the tastes and the things that we have, but it's a great challenge. I think it's really fun, as we're finding ways to really engage children more. Some of the statistics that you'd see on the left side of the brochure on the front page, we served over 2.3 million meals last year. So if you think about that on I think we've about 179 service days, we really do, the team really works hard out there at all of the schools, and it's not just the food service staff, it's the entire school that works together to get those kids fed. The other thing about the proclamation that Governor Inslee did was talked about how do we keep the farms in the state of Washington. And we actually did over 33,000 pounds of produce just from the state of Washington and served over 1 million cups of milk, which come here, locally from the state of Washington. So it really is a big part of that. It helps the more we can reduce that carbon footprint of bringing products in, that's great. And we're always trying to take advantage of things locally. Again, as I talked about, the focus is being on that more fruits and vegetables, and so we've really focused a lot on our garden bars, and so both at the elementary level and the high school level of how we offer a wide variety, and we actually had 62 different kinds of fruits and vegetables that we offer throughout the year based on what the season is, that kind of thing, really giving that exposure. And then I think the other big thing is that we've really tried to become more diverse in our meal offerings. And so we have some great programs out there from the Italian where we do pasta bars. We have pasta made to order in our secondaries. We also have an Asian, we have some traditional Asian, I guess American Asian dishes that we have. But one of the best things I found is Pho Friday. If you're in a secondary, have a chance, Pho Friday is great. It's something that I think the district has really done a good job at. We have some tremendous talent in our team out there, especially on the Latin dishes that we do, some very authentic salsas, those kinds of things. And so with that, I just would wrap up with kind of our focus for this coming year. Again, how do we really drive to the standards that the government has put there, and how do we make it more nutritious meals for our kids? But we really want to look at that quality from from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. How can we improve the quality of those meals with things that we're working with? Other big thing is customer service. My focus is really on how do we speed of service, how do we get the kids through the lines as quickly as possible, because we know the more time we have to eat, the more of those good choices are going to be consumed. And then the other thing is making sure our program's fresh and updated, at all of our schools. So we take a critical eye, and I think that's a nice thing about when you do have a change. For myself coming in, I was with Sodexo for 17 years, been away for a few years and coming back, a lot of experience, a lot of fresh eyes, ran my own business, so I can come in and look and see how we can really take that customer service, speed of service, quality of food, take it to another level. I'm very excited. So to close, I just want to thank you for the opportunity, for the continued relationship with Sodexo, 30 plus years. And it's a real honor for me to be here, and really just can't wait to share more good news in the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Gone are the days of green hot dogs.
Mystery meat.
And mystery meat.
Oh, mystery. Thanks so much, Darren. We're really
Yes.
glad to have you here.
Okay, then we ready for our host school, which is
Right, so
different than just a single school today.
Yeah, so as is our tradition, at our first board meeting of the year, our host school is actually all of our schools, and our directors of school support are here to give us an opening of school reports. So I'd like to welcome Sue Ann Sullivan, Dale Cody, David Larson, and Matt Livingston, our directors of school support. And you got it. Hello, everybody. So, hello again. I'm Sue Ann Sullivan from the Redmond Learning Community, Director of School Support. And we are happy to report that we have had an excellent start to the school year this year. It was a great first day. At our elementaries and our middle schools and our high schools, kids arrived eager to be there. Teachers and staff, principals were happy to have them there. I imagine many parents were really happy that they were there. And the whole week before the first day of school, our principals and staff spent the whole week preparing for them. So they were ready. We started planning for a special group this last year because we knew that there were going to be many students this year that would be going to a new school because of the reboundarying that our district did. And so we started last spring, and we had school tours for elementary students so they could go to their new school and they could see what it looked like there, and they could meet their principal and some of the new staff. They also, parents were invited by the principal of their new school to come to PTSA meetings and events in the spring. So they felt pretty comfortable and happy to be there when they arrived. Other things that we did to support school transitions this year, we have a Jumpstart kindergarten program at our title schools. And so we had 72 incoming students this year that attended a Jumpstart 2-week intensive kindergarten orientation program. The students that were moving from elementary to middle school had the opportunity to visit their new school in the spring.
They could go to summer school at the title schools. And we had a differentiated start at middle school on the first day of school. So sixth graders could come early, learn how to do their locker combination, navigate around the lunchroom, etc. Middle school to high school, also, students had an opportunity to attend summer programs if they wished, and ninth graders also had a differentiated start, so they could come early. There were tours led by older students and spirit assemblies.
So I'm going to talk for a couple minutes about the DSS's work directly with principals, whom we directly supervise. If we put student achievement at the center of all of our work, we know one thing, and that's that teachers' impact on that is the greatest. The second impact are principals. And so our work with principals on a daily, monthly, and yearly basis are critical, we believe. We come in as a primary coach for our administrators. 50% of our time is designated to be in buildings, working with administrative teams and staff, leadership teams, et cetera, about how we can improve student learning. We provide differentiated support for our administrative teams. If we think about our experienced administrators, we meet with them twice a month. We discuss strategic planning initiatives, instructional leadership opportunities, situational leadership opportunities, and ways that we can help improve their buildings. We also meet monthly with all of our learning community administrators, associate principals. We also then include our CLT members as well in that. During those monthly meetings, we provide professional learning, again, around instructional leadership, discuss district initiatives. We have time for them to collaborate and learn from one another about the work they're doing in their building, again, all in service of student learning. For our new administrators, we differentiate support in a couple different ways. First, we provide an intensive 2-day orientation in the summer, end of July, beginning of August, where we bring them in and inculcate them or begin to about the district and the things that they need to know. Different than our experienced administrators, we meet weekly with our building administrators. So we meet with them 1 time a week. And as they graduate to be more experienced, and we go to 2 times a month. The new administrator cohort, again, as a board met them today, we met just prior as a cohort to begin to provide them just-in-time learning for the work that they need to do. We'll meet with them throughout the course of the year as well to help support them as they transition into our district and in the service of kids. They also provided an experienced mentor outside of their building. So our new administrators also have somebody they've been connected with somewhere else in the district that has some experience that they can go to for questions or to lean on if they need to. In the end, we are their evaluators, and one of the things, although we strive to stay on the side of a coach, we do use the AWSP leadership framework. There are 8 criteria within that framework that we work to collect evidence for principals and their proficiency around that. It's a natural harvest of the work that they do, but it also helps principals to frame the work that they do and working with staff to help student learning. One of the interesting things we started last year was shadowing administrators on an observation cycle. So each one of us go through with each of our administrators, principals, an evaluation cycle. We'll sit in on the pre-observation, we'll sit in on the observation, go into the classroom, and we'll sit in on the post-observation. And it's been tremendous. So our work really is to watch the work of the principal working with teachers. And in the end, we debrief the work that they did in the pre-observation with the teacher, what they saw in the observation, and how they might want to approach and then debrief in the observation cycle. Another thing that we do to sum up my part in this is just the growth of our administrative interns. Our district has had a tradition of outstanding support for our staff in our district who may want to pursue administration as a career. That's part of our role and responsibility as well, is to grow great people who hopefully we can turn around and put in buildings to work with staff to help students learn.
Good evening. My role today as a member of our Director of School Support team is to really talk to you about the direct support that we provide for principals. And I'm going to connect the slide here for you with the last bullet, which is the continuous improvement process. I think many of you, if they had an opportunity to look at our various schools' reports over the course of the first semester, they're right now as school and principal teams are writing their first part of their continuous improvement process. This is something that we are working directly with them. But there are some real quality supports that our school district has intentionally put in place to make the continuous improvement process become a better document, a more realistic document that actually guides student achievement, instruction, and professional development for staff. So when you look at your professional growth and evaluation system, you'll find that there's a number of student growth goals that are required of staff to work together individually and as in collaborative teams. And the new SIP that we're building is actually going to nest those goals in the larger SIP goals. So you make a connection between the professional growth evaluation, the continuous improvement process, and the success for all students. In addition, the professional community and collaboration is basically what we see as a vehicle to help guide schools, staff, and administrators around the type of work they need to be doing on Wednesday leaps and in leaps on summer and full-day leaps that we have during the school year. And so the idea that they're all working together on common goals to help move student learning forward in the Lake Washington School District is something that is again captured in our continuous improvement process. As you know, second year, we now have professional learning coaches. And the DSSs work very closely with them. In fact, as a team of 4, we supervise and evaluate all the professional learning coaches. And they do a great job in helping to grow our teaching staff, again, so that their instruction remains as sharp as possible and it contributes to the student growth that is again captured in the continuous improvement process. And finally, our LEAP activities. These are the Wednesdays, the full day leaps, and all of those that they use together to collaborate, to set goals, to ultimately prepare the way for our student successes. I think Dr. Pierce has done a great job of identifying the successes instructionally, academically of our students, particularly this year in relation to SBA. And these 5 bullets up here have directly contributed to that success. Thank you.
In addition to the support that we provide directly to principals is the support that we provide for parents. Each one of us fields phone calls and emails that we get from parents, and they contact us for kind of a myriad of reasons, but primarily we see ourselves as a resource for families, kind of that bridge between where they are and where they're trying to go. We're kind of a conduit of information. For a lot of families, especially when they're new, it's challenging to navigate the district. It's fairly large and there's a lot of people, so it's our job and our opportunity to connect them with the right people. We help them with policy questions and helping them become familiar with our district policies so that they understand why we do the things that we do. We are an intermediary between families and schools when issues come up and parents have concerns, and the school staff has worked hard to kind of solve those issues or put those concerns in a good place. And that doesn't work, then we go in and try to support the administrative teams and the parents to come to resolution. The other thing that's unique about our jobs is the relationships that we build with families are a K-12 relationship. So where as an elementary, the family may leave after 5 years, but then they go to the middle school, and all of us supervise elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So we have that relationship with those families for 12, 13 years. And so we really take that seriously and put a lot of effort into working closely with families so that there's trust in that relationship and so that we can work together through that duration. And then, of course, when they have several kids, it could be a 15, 20-year relationship before they're all through. Aside from students and families, we work closely with schools to develop partnerships with the community. And so I wanted to highlight just 4 examples, one from each learning community, of a partnership that schools have. At Tesla STEM in the Eastlake Learning Community, they have internships with businesses that are focused on providing experiences for students in current industry, so to speak. So one example is students have had an opportunity to work on solar-powered lighting for construction work, as an example. In the Juanita Learning Community, Juanita High School has a partnership with Evergreen Hospital, which leads to their STEM signature program. Kirkland Middle School and Lake Washington High School have a partnership with the Kirkland Parks and Rec. So those schools are able to access the city fields for their sports teams. And Redmond Middle School has a partnership with the Redmond Parks and Rec, not for use of their fields, but for an after-school homework session where the Parks and Rec provides the tutors. So those are 4 examples of partnerships. The last that we wanted to highlight, because I want to make sure that we share how important this is our relationship with the police departments. And all of the police departments, and especially the SROs that are part of our schools, are a tremendous support of families and students, and of course the school staff. And of late, we've been working hard to train our staffs on the new ALICE protocols for lockdowns, and they've been a tremendous support with those trainings of our staffs. All in all, the 4 of us would like to thank the school board and Dr. Pierce and Cabinet for the support that you give to us, which allows us to be in the best position to provide support for all the schools that we work with. So, thank you.
Great. It's so exciting we had an opportunity to meet new administrators as well as our directors out before our study session. And it was so nice to meet all the new people and hear the excitement that they have about coming to our district and the welcome that they have felt and the ease that it is to join the district, and just the comments that you've made tonight about the work that you all do with the schools and principals has certainly helped to make that happen. And I totally appreciate very much your coming at a busy time of year, beginning of school. Take time out to come and be here with us this evening and to share about the opening of school. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you do in each of your learning communities. And it's okay if you need to go home. It's all right. We will let you. While we love an audience, we understand if you do need to go home because you have a busy day tomorrow. You notice I never can convince them that they should just turn around and sit down, but that's okay. You may. Please, 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 please. Understood. Okay, our next, I'm sorry? Oh, that's all right. She allows them to go too. Yeah, she wants them fresh tomorrow morning. Our next section on our agenda is our public comment time, and it's beginning of a new school year, and for our audience here, and as well as we have folks at home who view us, heard recently the people who do listen to us and tune in and check out what we're doing here on our Monday nights. Just would like to give an overview of what public comment means when it comes to coming to a board. And this is, as I said, for our viewers as well as our audience and anybody who may wish to speak to the board either tonight or in the future. The board on a monthly basis does provide an opportunity for public comment during our board meeting. And it's usually the first meeting of the month that this occurs. The public comment time is a period reserved during the working meeting for the board to hear from our public. There are multiple avenues in addition to public comment at a meeting for our community to share comments, opinions, or concerns with our board, including emails, calls, or letters. And so this is certainly what people can get in touch with us at other times during the month. Please note that public comment is not a question and answer session with the board. The board and the superintendent will not be responding to our community members during public comment, as it is our goal is to listen and to learn from you. Typically, the board will allow up to a maximum of 30 minutes on the agenda for public comment. And if a number of people are signed up to speak on a similar topic, the same topic, the board limits the time devoted to a single topic to 30 minutes. And if you are speaking to a subject that has already been raised by previous speakers, we encourage you to please focus on aspects of the topic that have not yet been addressed. So trying to get new information and fresh comments from each person that speaks. That helps us to get a much more complete picture of the situation that's being presented. Each individual is provided up to 3 minutes to speak, and in order to assure that we are able to hear from a variety of people, we ask that individuals not share their time or donate their time to someone else. So when your name is called, we would ask you to come to the podium here in the center of the room, speak into our microphone, giving your name and school attendance area for our records. And we do have a stoplight system over here that's kind of off. Can you tilt it at all? It's kind of, there you go, so we can see it too. And so when you see the yellow light, it means you have about 1 minute left, and so you should be winding up your comments to be done at the time of the 3 minutes. And at the end of 3 minutes, you will hear a buzzing sound. So it's important for all our community members to feel welcome and safe during board business meeting. And the board does not take public comments on issues that are related to personnel or individually named staff at board meetings. And audience members are expected to treat all attendees with respect and civility. So that's our public comment time and what it means and how the process is for that. So I have a few people that are signed up this evening. And I am going to, I think, mess up names. I have 2 people that are signed up together. Is it the 2 of you back there? Would you come forward and you can tell me how to say your name so I won't really make a mishmash out of it?
I'm Svetlana Dimitrova. This is my brother, Svetoslav Dimitrov. We actually have some...
We won't start your time if you've got things you wanted to hand out first?
Yeah, we just have little packets if we may hand those out.
Okay.
All right.
Would you just give them down here to Diane and she can pass them along? And then we'll let you go ahead and begin.
So I am Svetlana Dimitrova. I am in 11th grade, and as a member of Sustainability Ambassadors, I represent my school, Eastlake High School, my district, Lake Washington School District, and my city of Sammamish.
My name is Svetoslav Dimitrov. I'm in 9th grade, and I represent the International Community School of the Lake Washington School District and the city of Sammamish as well.
Sustainability Ambassadors is a nonprofit organization with 29 middle school and high school students representing 6 school districts, 2 private schools, and 13 cities throughout King County. There are 9 ambassadors in our school district. Our mission is to empower youth to catalyze community and sustainability. We can do this through our year-round leadership program, Sustainable Systems College. Ambassadors receive over 120 hours of professional training in what we call the 4 Ps. We train ourselves in the first P, policy analysis, because it is important to understand the framework for decision-making in our communities. We train ourselves in performance assessment because it is critical to assess our performance against policy goals. We train ourselves in project management because in measuring our performance, we learn where the gaps are and develop projects to improve performance. And we train ourselves in public speaking because once we need to communicate results to people who need to know, including our peers, parents, teachers, and policymakers. The reason we are called ambassadors is because we work as professional diplomats with a portfolio to connect ideas and people, from Green Team to Student Council, from school district to city governments, to the business community, and from our generation to your generation. We have provided you with a handout with background information on who we are and the projects we are leading.
Today we are here to talk to you about the Students to Student Sustainability Summit, or the S4. The goals for this summit include to gather students who are passionate about sustainability and build professional skills, motivate students to establish powerful green teams that get things done, connect green teams, ASB, city youth councils, and other student groups, create a district-wide work plan, and measure what we do and report regularly to school boards, city councils, Chamber of Commerce, and community groups. Our current partners or funders for this project include the Boeing Charitable Trust, the Russell Family Foundation, and the Cascade Water Alliance. We will be implementing the King County Green Schools program, which is a program that provides guidelines for schools to achieve maximum sustainability. They are organized in 4 levels of sustainability. Level 1 includes waste reduction and recycling. Level 2 is energy conservation. 3, water conservation and pollution prevention. And 4, sustaining a green school. The communications begin today, and the event is scheduled to be on October 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the International Community School in Kirkland. What we ask of you today is to help us expand our network of contacts and community partners on this project, help promote the event, and we look forward to reporting back to you following the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow, and 3 minutes on the money. You guys are really good. Thank you very much. What a very interesting project, and I thank you very much for sharing with the board. And everybody heard the date, right? Is that the?
If I could have it clarified, that would be great. What was the date?
Would you tell us the date again so everybody has it?
October 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. at International Community School in Kirkland.
And what will be occurring, the event? Sort of just to give me an idea.
So we'll be gathering students and we'll be educating them about sustainability in order to inspire them to create more green teams that work effectively.
So student focused.
Right.
Okay.
So is this tied to the King County Green Schools program, or is this another green school program?
We'll be educating the students on the Green School program so they can implement it into their plan for the green teams.
The King County Green Schools program?
Right.
Oh, good. I work with them. I just lost something and I forgot it.
All right.
The Green Schools, the U.S. Green Ribbon Award stuff is up on OSPI's website. I haven't sent it out yet because I'm waiting for them to do a nice little announcement. So if we have schools that want to apply for the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon Award, the application's up on OSPI's website.
Again, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
And I'm excited to hear as you move forward how things have gone and how things are growing. What a wonderful to see you doing this.
Thank you.
Great job. Okay. And is it Shama? Yes. Would you come forward?
Actually, I'm a parent at Lake Washington School District. My kid is in Redmond Elementary. Last year, my 5-year-old kid had this in school. It's illustrating Hanukkah, and there's one more. Even in every festival or every religious festival here in USA, my kid has one of this. I was really happy with that because he got exposed to many different cultures. But after that, I waited for mine as a Muslim here, but I didn't. Actually, in Ramadan, we were fasting as a holy month. We were fasting for 18 hours, continuous hour for a whole month, and they didn't consider it in a school year calendar. And a few days later, we'll be celebrating a feast, and I had to cut my kid from school. There is no consideration for our feast or our religious concerns, and we did it with the school didn't have anything like this, or even the holiday vacation in a school year calendar. Actually, I made a presentation, and the school board were very welcoming, and they made a presentation for the kids, but it was in one class all over the whole school. Then I ran a petition on Facebook, and actually my goal was 100 voter, and actually it exceeds to 128 voter in less than 10 days. They all accepting and promoting to share our concerns and our religious culture with the whole community. And I have 2 more pages here.
Okay.
Some of the community, and here is the petition. It's 4 pages, and there's more.
Okay.
Actually, after I see this, I read about Judaism, and I was astonished by the similarity between the Abrahamic religion, Christianity, and Islam, and Judaism. And actually, I got no xenophobic anymore. And I wish all the people here in USA becoming no xenophobic, Islamophobic anymore. And actually, if you do share some of our culture, peaceful culture, with your community, it will makes your community having more peaceful society and more engaging society, and make Muslims don't feel aliens and inferior to others anymore. That's really very important after we see the boy who made the bomb. The Sudanese boy who made the bomb, the clock, and they thought it is a bomb because he's a Muslim.
It was a clock.
It's a clock,
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I got confused. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thank you very much for presenting to us this evening, and I'll share these with our superintendent. We'll have those. So thank you very much for coming this evening. Okay. And just in case there's anybody in the audience that didn't have a chance to sign up to speak and did they want to come forward, they can. Okay, if not, then we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is our consent agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent.
So moved. Can I move that we let the preschoolers go home?
Yes, they can, if they want.
If they want to.
Yeah.
Send us email if you want feedback. We won't be talking further about that this evening. So go home and get them some sleep. You don't have to. You're welcome to stay.
You are welcome to stay as long as you want.
Yes.
But don't
we
feel
will talk
fine.
with you after we're
That's
done
right.
with business.
Yeah. And if you feel like you want to leave, you're welcome to as well.
We won't be offended.
Yeah, because the process is that the staff will follow up with you, and you'll be followed up with. People are always welcome to our meetings. We just don't quite expect people to want to stay at our meetings, that's all.
But we love an audience.
If you,
Right, so we have your contact information and all the information that you shared tonight. So we will, gotcha, okay, and read out. We will be back in touch with you.
That's what I said. And you are welcome to stay.
Yes.
But we don't have pillows for the guys.
We're not trying to throw anybody out, but certainly understand if folks need to go home too. Okay, I had a motion for a consent agenda.
Second.
In a second. Tracy, would you poll the board? Oops. Would you poll the board, please?
Chris?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Siri?
Yes. And we have donations on tab 4.
Great, so tab 4.
Ready for the first couple weeks of school.
I know, and already we've got $76,436 in donations, which is pretty incredible. As you heard from our partner, the Lake Washington Schools Foundation, tonight we've got a number of donations from Lake Washington Schools Foundation, starting with a donation to Evergreen Middle in the amount of $6,000 to purchase subscriptions for IXL Math, and so a site license for both 2014 and a 2015 subscription. Also a donation from the Lake Washington Schools Foundation to Inglewood Middle School in the amount of $3,867 to purchase, again, IXL Math and monitors for their television production course. $6,000 from the Lake Washington Schools Foundation to Juanita Elementary to support their volunteer program. $14,146 from the Albert Einstein Elementary PTSA to Einstein Elementary to provide stipends for choir, after-school athletic program, and lunch buddy program. Also to purchase art docent supplies and to support field trips. A $10,000 donation from the Peter Kirk PTSA to Kirk Elementary to purchase netbooks for students. $9,077 from the Inglewood Middle School PTSA to Inglewood Middle to provide stipends for academic tutoring, to support the library, and to purchase garbage cans, picnic tables, front door mat, and miscellaneous other supplies. A $4,300 donation from the Kirkland Middle School PTSA to Kirkland Middle to provide stipends for after-school homework club and lunchtime student schoolwork support. $18,797 from the Stella Scola PTO to Stella Scola Middle to provide stipends and support for their Latin 3 and 4 program, and $4,248 from the Lake Washington Girls Soccer Booster Club to Lake Washington High School to support field trips. So all total tonight, we've got donations of $76,436.
And a big thank you to our supporters, both PTA and others in the community, our foundation and booster clubs, et cetera, for ongoing support in the buildings, for things that are needed and extras that cannot be either cannot be purchased with tax dollars, or tax dollars don't quite stretch that far. Okay, now we're on to non-consent agenda, which we have one item for tonight, and that's the World Language Competency Test fees.
Great. So if you could turn to tab 5, you'll recall this is a follow-up item from the fees that the board adopted in spring, specifically for the 2014-15 school year. Board asked a number of questions, asked for some additional research, which staff has done, and we now have a recommendation to bring forward tonight. So the recommendation specifically is that the board approve a fee of $0 for the first world language competency test a student takes, and a fee of $25 to $220 depending on the language. So you'll see from the report that depending on the test that the student needs to take, the fee can range significantly. So if any subsequent retest is needed, depending on the test, then the student would pay for that fee. This is consistent practice with some of our neighboring districts. One thing we realized in our additional research was the fee that was being charged to our students was not necessarily what the district was charging their own students. So there was some additional information that came out. They were charging a fee of $0 for a first test for their students, but our students, because they were accessing the fee as, from an outside district, were being charged a fee. So we provided a report to the board with all of the specific data and answers to questions. And so tonight, bringing forward the recommendation to approve the $0 fee for the first time testing, and then the subsequent test, students would pay a fee depending on the test.
So, point of clarification, when you say first time testing, first language tested, or first time you try on a given language?
So the first time the student attempts to take the test, so they sign up to take the test in French or whatever language, then they would pay a fee of $0 to take that.
So you're thinking about, we might have some students that are going to try and test in more than one language?
Well, there are just two ways it can be interpreted. I expect most of the time people would be native speakers of one. We're not. I mean, how many trilinguals are out there who are fully fluent?
Ones from certain countries.
But yeah, they're out there. Exactly. They're called Europeans or anywhere else other than America. But nonetheless, it's just something we're clarifying what that meant for the first time through.
We probably should, yeah, because I can
helpful.
think of friends from Thailand that
I think we have to go back to the purpose of why the why the student would be taking the test. So the student would be taking the test to earn credit to meet the graduation requirement.
Yeah, so broadly speaking, people would only need it once.
I would
I'm
have
okay with
no
that.
problem
Yeah.
if they chose to take 2 separate tests on 2 different languages and they have the test is paid for at their first sitting regardless of the language. That's
no. I just
if
wanted
it's
to
their
make that
second
explicit.
language they can do, then
Yeah.
it's competency based,
Right.
Which is the concept of, is it seat time or competency that we're looking for? So
And again, these are, and so I don't, disagree that we can look at that. I just anticipate that we're not going to have that, because the reason the student is taking the test, primarily it's their native speaker in that language, and they are taking the test to earn their world language credit, so they don't have to take a seat-based course, and that opens up 2 spots essentially in their 9-12 years, right, to take other courses. So I certainly think if the case is we have students wanting to test in multiple languages, we would, not have an issue with that. We just don't anticipate that's going to be the situation.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate the re-looking at it, to seeing what was up and determine that that was the recommendation to make.
Yeah.
I think it's the right way to go, and I think it helps to support our students, especially from a competency-based concept, so
Agreed.
Yep,
I would support it.
I do too. Any other questions for Tracy?
No.
Mark, anything?
I'm concerned, when you have that sort of test, if you've got someone who wants to go to as many languages, that's great.
Yeah.
I think your point was that you assume that people be like me that had to take the test, one test 2 or 3 times, so.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion now to approve this recommendation.
So moved.
Okay, one or the other of those two just moved.
Second.
Okay, Chris moved, Siri second. All those in favor of passing or approving the World Language Competency Test fee recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a lot of words in one thing. Okay, so now we are on to our superintendent report.
Great. So as you know, we're at the beginning of our 4th week of the 2015-16 school year, and we are off to a great start. This year, as a district, as you heard this evening, we're adopting a new theme or motto. You'll see the buttons that we're wearing, and now board members are wearing, and even our foundation partners were wearing tonight. And that's growing together, serving our community. So tonight I want to share a few back-to-school highlights that connect with our new motto and how our motto complements our district's mission, vision, values, and goals. So our district values remain unchanged, and those values are student-centered, learning-focused, results-oriented, and community-connected. So in terms of growing together as a district, we're committed to student learning and growth, professional learning and growth, and organizational learning and growth. And I think you heard those themes of student learning and professional learning in the presentation from our directors of school support tonight. I've been meeting with our cities and community groups like the Kirkland Chamber and our city partners over the past few weeks, and I've been sharing that in August, in terms of student growth and learning, we received our state assessment results, and we are very pleased with our students' performance. As you know, this is the first year we're getting those results. Students tested in spring with the new Smarter Balanced assessments. Those assessments test students on more rigorous standards in literacy and math. And our scores in most grades, our scores were about 25% higher than the state average. And so we're very pleased with that, especially pleased with the fact that in many grades and subjects, over 50% of our students scored at an advanced level. And as we begin shortly our season of end results reports with the board, you'll see those results and the data disaggregated and so forth. Now it will be based on those new state assessments. Our principals and teachers are working very hard every day to ensure academic success for every student, which of course is our #1 strategic goal. On the Smarter Balanced, families should soon receive their family reports, and so those are sent directly from the student's school along with a letter that includes links to additional resources and information. We're also including that information on our district website. So the letter highlights the fact that we pay close attention to the results of state testing, and the information helps us as a district improve the way we teach, improve our curriculum, and ultimately just do a better job of meeting every student's learning needs. It also, in the letter, highlights the fact that state tests provide a snapshot of how a student is performing. And they're not necessarily direct indicators of classroom performance on a day-to-day basis. Classroom performance still is the primary measure of a student's skills and knowledge, and if families have questions or concerns about their child's performance on the Smarter Balanced test, they are encouraged to talk with their child's teacher about their child's learning needs. In addition to student academic growth, in terms of growing together, we're also proud of our continued enrollment growth, and we're pleased that we are welcoming in new families and returning families to our district. We know people move to our community because of our great cities and our great schools. And we, in fact, are one of the fastest growing and today the 6th largest district in the state. Last year, our enrollment was 26,712. And we will have our official enrollment count by October 1st. However, preliminary numbers show that our enrollment is at 27,539, which is up 827 students over last year. Our enrollment has grown 1,500 students in the past 2 years and is on track to increase by 3,000 more students in the next 6 years. For the past number of years as a district, we have been talking about the fact that we're growing and projected to grow, and our enrollment numbers are proving that to be true. As the district grows, we want to continue to grow together as one community of the Lake Washington School District. In terms of serving our community, we know that we can best serve our community by partnering with our community and its leaders, and we're proud to partner with many different community groups, first and foremost with our cities and community partners. Some you heard from tonight, the Lake Washington Schools Foundation, the American Heart Association, of course our PTSA, and all of our community partnerships are about benefiting children in the community and how we can work together. One of our district values is community connected. And we are continuing as a district to seek ways to improve communications, engagement, participation, and connection with our parents and our larger community. As Jackie mentioned, tonight's board study session was focused on the comprehensive communications audit that we invited the National School Public Relations Association, or NSPRA, to do last year as part of our continuous improvement efforts. And that involved convening stakeholder focus groups from a variety of the community. And we've developed a 2015-16 communication and engagement plan based on the findings and recommendations. And so there are many ways that we as a district are working to enhance transparency, accountability, public participation, and engagement, and ultimately how we can serve our community best as a district. There are 2 concrete opportunities for participation and engagement that I do want to highlight this evening. First, as a district, we conduct periodic reviews of our departments to ensure continuous improvement. You heard the directors of school support talk about continuous improvement tonight. We often are talking about program reviews. Even the communications audit was part of a program review. The special services department is beginning its program review of special education and services based on Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And the goal of the program review is to determine areas of strength and opportunities for growth. So as a district, we have selected the Urban Special Education Leadership Collaborative to complete the review. And the collaborative is developing a process and timeline. And staff from the collaborative will be in the district October 19th through the 21st. So they'll do a number of things in this review. And as part of the review, they're going to hold an open forum for parents and students with disabilities. And they want to hear, as part of our review, we want to hear, the collaborative wants to hear from parents about the services offered in our district. Staff from the Urban Special Education Leadership Collaborative will meet with parents and students with disabilities on Tuesday, October 20th, here at the Resource Center from 7 to 8:30. So Paul Vine, our Director of Special Services, has a group that he meets with on a regular basis. And so I believe this is their regular meeting time. And as a part of that meeting will be the open forum. So again, it's Tuesday, October 20th, here at the Resource Center from 7 to 8:30 p.m. So that's an important opportunity. One opportunity. There'll be many parts through the program review for parents to provide feedback and to participate. The second opportunity I want to highlight is the work of the Long-Term Facility Planning Task Force. As we know, the task force was here in August to provide the preliminary recommendations, share those with the board, and they're now, in draft form, and their work has been to develop a recommendation for a long-term approach to dealing with our growing enrollment and lack of classroom space, and for dealing with our aging facilities. So the draft recommendations, as you saw includes specific recommendations for building new schools, including when we plan, when we build, if we can't build quite enough or fast enough, and if we can't build at all. And their draft also includes recommendations for ongoing coordination and engagement with the community. So the task force right now, in terms of process, they're engaging in a series of efforts to gather feedback from the community on these draft recommendations. Community members can give input via an online open house that's open through October 11th. Task force members are also presenting the draft recommendations at meetings in schools around the district during the month of September in cooperation with our PTSA partners. And community meetings are in the process of being held in each of our 4 learning communities. So the meeting in the Juanita Learning Community and the Lake Washington Learning Community has occurred. They've already occurred. The next meetings are in the Redmond Learning Community. That's Monday, September 28th from 6:30 to 8:30. And in the Eastlake Learning Community, that meeting is Wednesday, September 30th from 6:30 to 8:30. The meeting in Redmond is at Redmond High School. The meeting in Eastlake is at Eastlake High School. And then finally, they're putting a task force town hall together. It's being held on October 7th, and it will provide an additional opportunity to provide input to the task force. The next step will be for them then to review all of the input collected and to determine revisions potentially that need to happen in the recommendations, and then share those final recommendations with the board in November. So I know tonight's report was a little lengthy, but it's the beginning of the year and there's a lot of important work happening. And as our district grows, so does our commitment to our partnerships with our community and to serving our community, and so hence growing together, serving our community. And we look forward to another collaborative and productive year of working together.
Great. Mark?
On the open forum for special education, as they're looking at this new program and getting input, I talked to Paul Bond, who's running the program. I really encourage, since the meeting is going to be in this facility, in this room actually, that we could stream the meeting so more parents can actually see it. Especially, it's important for special needs parents to be able to participate or be able to view it from home, because many of those parents, myself included, you can't get away from the home because often those your children require 24/7. I know that Paul was concerned about confidentiality of showing folks that might not want to be on camera. If that's the case, at least show the presentation and the people presenting from their district, because I think that would make it really helpful to those parents who can't make it in, and then they can then have their input by email or however they want to put it, but to really involve them, because this is extremely important to their children.
Thank you. I have not had the opportunity to talk to Paul about that, but let me loop back. I think those are some good suggestions, and I definitely think we need to find a way to help people access the information or the presentation in the very least. So whether that's a video that gets posted after or any way we can do that, I'm sure there's a way we can do that.
And even the streaming during the meeting, I think it can be done without having to worry about confidentiality. If the cameras are focused on the people making the presentation, those people who are comfortable, I should say, who are comfortable with being on camera, then fine, if that's the case. But at least make it available for those parents that want to watch it. I mean, there's also a number of choruses they're performing that same night too. So.
Good. Thank you, Mark.
I just have a clarification. Could you explain what the format is for the community meeting for the long-term facilities task force? I get a couple questions from people trying to understand exactly what that community meeting.
Specifically, the learning community meetings versus the town hall?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask Janine to...
Thank you, because I've actually wondered what the town hall was going to be different than what we already did at each of the learning communities.
Thanks, Janine.
Yeah. The learning community meetings are really an opportunity for us to share a little bit the overall recommendations, and then a little more specifically about the learning community's needs and projects. The format of the meeting is a World Cafe, which is really a conversation. So there's a presentation, and then there's discussion groups that are hosted by a community member, and so there's some sharing and then gathering information, which then through a series of information sessions and then discussions that then is then being collected and shared back with the entire task force. So it's an opportunity to have a conversation with others in your learning community, and one of the key points there is not only to provide information about and the recommendations, but also to solicit from each learning community what is unique about the learning community, what are specific things about the learning community that the task force needs to know. The town hall is going to use a little bit of a different format. It'll have an opportunity for people to come in and get information about the situation, a little bit like the meeting we had here in June. So there'll be some boards, people, our staff members here who are the, on the technical team will help answer people's questions about both the need, the recommendations, those kinds of things, or the need and some of the growth and facility issues. They'll have an opportunity then to hear, if they have not already, the recommendations. So we're going to be doing that in a little video segment, presenting the recommendations, and then they'll have an opportunity to go to another section of the meeting, which is going to be discussion tables with the task force members on all of the recommendations. So there'll be a table about each of the sections of the recommendations with task force members there to have a discussion and recommendation, or get feedback from community members on that. Trying to finalize kind of the end of that, whether will be kind of a final summary of that town hall with people to have an opportunity to share with the task force overall. But generally, it's learning more about the situation, hearing the recommendations, and then having an opportunity to give feedback directly to task force members about the recommendations.
And will the town hall be a progression from place to place, or is it kind of an open concept? They can walk from one area, like they could go see the video if they didn't want to go to something else? Or are they expected to go, come do this piece, and that piece?
Kind of the way we're envisioning it right now is that we would have kind of in the entryway the information about what's the situation, the background. We know some folks have read the entire online open house. Right. We know they've been to the other community meetings, so they would just sort of breeze through that section. If they had already heard the recommendations, then they could just go directly to the discussion tables.
Okay.
If they were coming in and hadn't had the opportunity to either go to a previous meeting or read the information online, then there'd be people there to talk to them about the background, the growth, any of those kinds of questions they could get answered. If they hadn't had an opportunity to read or hear the recommendations, they could go to that. So yeah, it'll be fluid in terms of kind of where you're entering the process.
And then that means the discussion tables will flow through people. I mean, you might talk to a few people and then they'd leave and another group would come in, rather than having kind of formal, everybody sit here now and we'll do this kind of thing?
Yeah, it'll be a fluid conversation.
Okay. Any other questions from board members on that piece? On anything else from the SUPS report? Okay. Legislative update. Seems
Okay,
to be
legislative update. We did just actually hold our legislative assembly for the Washington State School Directors Association was this weekend. So had the opportunity to hear from several of our state representatives about the current state, also from Tom Ahern in regards to McCleary, and an update on that. So I'll try to run through it pretty quick. I actually have stuff written up that I'll send to you as well to provide you a little more detailed information. But the key things is Marcy Maxwell, who many of you know, who works with Governor Inslee on education issues. She is actively promoting that it is time to be involved and communicating around education issues when it comes up. She goes through all the contacts that they get by email in regards to subject area And education is very poorly represented. And knowing that we have over 1,000 school directors in our state, as a minimum, you'd think we'd have more than 20 a quarter. But that's what they're showing as contacts on the topic area, especially with the fact that this is such a driving force.
So she wants just us to flood the governor's office with emails?
Not flood necessarily, be thoughtful, but actually pay attention, advocate, governor's office as well as your legislators. Just pay attention to the bills that are out there and what's going on.
It'd be easier if there weren't 256,000 bills on education every year.
You can just target 3 and be fine, and I can give you those 3 you should target. That wouldn't be hard. So the update with McCleary, as many of you know, the legislature is still held in contempt at this point in time. They're being fined $100,000 a day.
How much are we up to?
Huh?
How much is it up to
Oh, I
now?
haven't done the tallying around that.
Aren't they out at least a month?
It's
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
No, they should just pass 100,000 to every school district, just keep going through.
Regardless, that Governor Inslee has put together a work group around McCleary with legislators from both chambers to try to come to some agreement. If they can find some agreement in some way, then the possibility of a specialist session sometime in maybe November would be possible. But that is not on the table at this point in time. They are still in discussion and negotiations around the possibility of agreement. The big issues around McCleary, teacher compensation, and how do you do it, and then how do you pay for it. The levy swap, levy reform is definitely still on the table as options. There was much discussion around that. I do have a draft resolution around McCleary and some of the findings, and we as a school board can decide whether or not we want to send that through with a variety of things of whereas we need to amply fund education, whereas we need to comply. So I'll forward that to Tracy, and she can get it out to us, and we can look at it for next week. But that's something we can consider if we want to put out that resolution as a board in support of resolving McCleary and fully funding it.
So for that working group, are there local legislators on that one?
I don't know the names of who is on it at this point in time.
Without
But Russ
Ross, I'm
Hunt,
kind of
you did hear
floundering.
that Representative Ross Hunter is moving.
Right.
Yeah, it's killing me.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I did see the names. I don't remember that he was one at that time when it came out. I think it came out right after the announcement of Ross. I did see the 2 on each side at the time.
It
kind
was
of thing.
8 total, if I remember correctly, and 2 Republican, 2 Democrat from each of the House
Yeah,
and the
that's
Senate.
what I remember seeing. But I don't remember Ross's name there.
Yeah, which would make sense because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
leaving
obviously
in
he
November.
Can't do that.
The other key issues they brought up was actually simple majority for bonds, and that being a big issue across the state. One of the bills being mentioned most right at this point in time that was introduced last year was the simple majority in November only for construction bonds, so that you would.
Yep.
That is the discussion that's at hand. There is some question about the constitutionality of it, and that has to be looked into to determine whether or not that is true.
It's a nice little kicker always.
So that's a piece, and so that's a piece that we can
Percent
talk
would
about
be a
as we
whole
move
lot
to a
better.
legislative agenda.
No
On
matter
the
when they tell me
federal
to do
level,
it.
there are 3 big things to be paying attention to. The Education Secondary, no, the Elementary Second Education Act. Did I even get that right? ESA.
ESA.
ESEA. ESA is what they call it all. The bill has passed each chamber, but it's now in pre-conference negotiations so that they can see if they can come to agreement. Senator Patty Murray is busily actively working on that. So any encouragement you can give her to continue to work on that would be great. We have the IDEA reauthorization and federal funding by September 30th, likely to be a continuing resolution because of the budget issues. And then the Child Nutrition Act reauthorization, which impacts free and reduced lunch and access to funding.
It's sunsetted, so it was done. Its time has come.
So its time has come.
Has come
So
to be redone.
We need to mandate 30 minutes lunch every day so the kids will actually eat the fruits and vegetables.
we can put forward legislation if you would so like to do so. That is an option. Other topics of interest that were sort of big amongst all the districts, start times for secondary schools were definitely a talk that was occurring in many places. Core 24 and the impacts upon districts and looking at the flexibility and requirements at the high school level. We have the College and Career Readiness Task Force that is looking at those issues right now. Federal Way just went to a 4x4 schedule, which is you do 4 classes one day, 4 the next. You have a total of 8, so they now have access to 32 credits over the course of their 4 years. It's similar to Liberty High School does that in Issaquah and has for years. So it's a model that's out there, but their comment was the cost associated with that. And so there's some concerns coming up about the funding and the cost. So that was another discussion to be able to hold with the legislature as we move to those components there. And so it might be helpful also, because these are such hot topics, as the College and Career Readiness Task Force moves down its work a little more, to have an update at some point around sort of their learning. That would probably be helpful. On the Legislative Assembly side, we spent about 6 hours debating over 40 proposals that were put forward. The majority of them did pass as heavily by the Legislative Committee. For the Long-Term Facilities Task Force draft recommendations that they put up, the sales tax exemption was one of the recommendations that they had up, simple majority for bonds, and dealing with the allocation formula for the state construction assistance. All of those were discussed and debated. 2 of those did pass, but not the exempt sales tax from school construction bonds, because the person who actually put it through was concerned about the issue of some precedent setting behind it on, if you do that, you could impact federal funds in another way. So there were some other components. So there was more research that needed to be done before this was considered and would likely be brought back the next year. So that was the concern there. And that's where the decision was made on that one. We then voted on top 10 priorities. They'll put together 5, and WASDA will have a legislative agenda by about November, if I remember correctly, when they finally put it all together. But that is sort of where we're at with that. I do think we need to start looking at setting up meetings with our representatives and working with that. It's a very active and busy time right now. And this is our good opportunity to sit with them prior. And be able to sort of wrap up what happened last year and then where we're going on from there. So,
And especially since nobody's being reelected or unelected or whatever this year,
yes,
we don't have to wait to the November election because they're all still in office except for Ross. And I would assume they'll be filling his spot somewhat soon. They've got 3 nominees, so. And you did hear that Cyrus Habib is now going to run as lieutenant governor next session, so that means we will have a senator open Senate seat in the 48th again as well. Yes, yes.
In terms of the board's legislative agenda, when would you like to have, review what it is and update it for the 15-16 school year?
Well, we have the one we had from last year. Do we want to at least look at it and see what needs to stay, and is there something to add?
Absolutely. I think we should review it for a variety. I would go through the WASDA legislative priorities that were put forward, even those that weren't approved, and actually look through those, and we can make our own decision as a district. And then look at how those fit into our priorities and where our long-term goals are. I'd be happy to work on a subcommittee of that with, to just sort of get that drafted and then bring that forward.
Anybody? I'm unavailable in October. Has anybody got time? Otherwise, I would be glad to work with you on it.
Try.
Okay. Okay, great.
I'm going to
Give
meet
us
with
a
you as
start.
well.
Absolutely.
Get us a start on that? That'd be great.
Okay, so send
Yeah.
me the.
And do we want, we had really good success last year with meeting. We had really good success last year meeting with our legislators the way we did compared, I mean, we had times that didn't work, but last year it did. I mean, the same kind of idea, but, short meetings with them individually, and they seemed to work. And so that, I think that's a good idea to do.
No, and I would also
especially with a new person coming in, that will be important to meet with also from the 48th.
Yes.
To get to know them. They're going to have a.
And the more we can have, there's a lot
high
that has changed, especially with all the new
curve.
funding that came down the line, being able to say where we're utilizing that, where it's
Right.
gone, how it's really placing us well for our strategic plan and our implementation. All those are going to be the key messages to put forward, and where there's still gaps.
Yep.
And we can use their support.
Yep, and I like the format that we used last time. Thanks, Mark, for setting up the squares and boxes and whatever that's called. I know it has a name. Thank you. Okay, any other things for Ledge or Siri? Any board follow-up or future agenda items?
If you typed all that up, you could email it, and that'll help me remember what you said.
I will. I'll send it all out to you.
Thank you.
But there's a little more on it, so I haven't done it yet. So I guess I do have a few more things to share. It has been a very busy month for me.
Oh, okay.
I actually spent a weekend with WASDA Leadership, where we had the opportunity to learn about innovative programming that was occurring around the state. The two districts we looked at were Tacoma School District and the Highline School District. Had the opportunity to hear from their board members and superintendent as sort of their strategies, their policies. Tacoma is fascinating in the sense of they have created themselves they're designated an innovation zone completely in regards to the new OSPI legislation or the ordinance that came out, I think about 2 years ago, that you become an innovation school. It's a whole application process that occurs in October. They went for their whole district because they're doing a variety of different things, and the way they're sort of handling how do you get the academic program that's the right fit for each student, and their approach and philosophy behind that was really quite interesting in how they did it. All their middle schools had choice programs within them, and they were neighborhood-based. So there was an interesting thought of how you deal with it. They also went out to an RFP to ask what type of innovation programs were out there. So they have a whole policy around it, how it ties to their strategic plan. So there's been some interesting board work and with the superintendent and the community and their strategic plan to really look at how to build that as a vision as a whole. So I think there's some interesting things. Highline, what was interesting was their dual language program and their new policy that's out on bicultural, biliterate for the class of 2026, if I remember correctly. And that is that they're working on dual language programs throughout all their schools so that all their students graduate bicultural, biliterate, because that was a value within their community that came out during the strategic planning process. That they wanted to take the diversity of that community and make it a strength and really bring it forward. So it was a very interesting way of how they were able to leverage something that sometimes can be viewed as a challenge for education and really make it a positive for education. So those were some of the exciting things, as well as the big picture school. Bellevue also has a big picture school that works from a learning through interest concept behind it. So there were some neat things to just sort of see out there. We are also doing neat things. We're able to share those all back and forth in the same way. But I think these can and they provided policies around these, which I actually thought was really interesting as to how the board's role was in helping to support the system overall and being able to provide that continuation on it. So I will share all of that with all of you. But I did think that was fascinating.
So how many schools in Highline are going to be dual language?
All their elementary are to go to dual language. Right now they have
By
8, if I remember correctly. They're doing a Spanish and a Vietnamese. The one we visited they started in kindergarten, they're now up through 5th grade, so all the kids. And they have many multilingual kids already. And we actually got to hear from a Cambodian family who the mother said it's great. Absolutely love the fact he speaks Spanish and English. The teacher who had done a non-dual immersion program prior, because they had both going. They ran actually a dual language and a non-dual language program in that school, and now they're slowly shifting to being completely dual language. He had done the 5th grade with all English speakers, and now was in a dual language where it was English and Spanish, and he said, it's amazing because I used to have 5th grade Spanish speakers who couldn't write in their native language because they'd never been taught in it. He goes, now I have completely biliterate students in both English and Spanish at this point in time. So it's a great skill set. They view it as a very much 21st century. So it was a very interesting approach. I mean, there's lots of challenges. There's lots of different things around it. But from a vision standpoint and sort of where you could go, it was an interesting concept. So that was it. The other piece is the Eastside Human Services Forum. I sit on the board for that as a representative of the Lake Washington School District, just so you know I'm representing you all sitting there. It's a mix of city council people, nonprofits, health service organizations, and it gives us a variety of different things to talk about around human services in their area, since schools are a major player in that. So just to know that that is going on. My term will be up in December. I can either continue for another as the representative of Lake Washington School District, or we can consider if somebody else is interested in being that appointed member on the board. So that will be something that will need to be discussed at some point in time. So just putting that out. And
You're welcome to keep doing it as far as I'm concerned.
okay. I also had the opportunity to talk with County Councilwoman Kathy Lambert, who also sits on the committee. And she had brought up something, and it was interesting as I was listening to the American Heart Association about vision and vision screening. And I have brought this up to Tracy's attention and forwarded on an op-ed piece around it as well, as something that, not knowing a lot of exactly what our vision screening is, but the need for not just far distance, but near and acuity and those things. And so that was something just to look into and possibly think about, because typically we screen for distance, but we don't screen for tracking and accommodation. And there is some new research coming out about the value behind that, especially around academic learning. So,
Yeah, have had that conversation with the medical profession and the nursing profession in the district. Time, bodies, it's more time-consuming and difficult than vision distance. I've talked to folks at the Board of Health, and just a conversation on at least if a start could be targeted. Kids who have issues to begin doing testing rather than doing mass testing. And cost-effective, that might be better, at least a way to start. So that's some thinking that's out there. Right now, they will do nothing until the legislature passes something.
Well, that's the thing, it's not a new discussion. I've had that same discussion with Kathy probably almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But the problem is staff and training and time and
that's why thinking of targeting, no, I'm not arguing it. It's just a
I am
conversation.
putting it out there as something to think about, to look at options. I do know school districts that do it. And as I said, so it's just something.
Well, it would be nice if we had a way of targeting screenings to kids who need them. I used to try and exempt my kids because my kids go see an eye doctor every year. They saw all their doctors, dentists, and whatever, and they couldn't even, it was too much trouble and time consuming just to even exempt them. And we've never been able really to get this handle around the screen them all to catch the few that don't have the services versus could we provide better screening and services for the kids who really need it?
Well,
absolutely.
And it's also in the mass screening, when letters go out, there's very poor follow-through on the parent side. I mean, we can screen till we're purple and have it and send it and say document, but you've got to have follow-through. And
That's why it
maybe we
needs
would have
more
better
targeted.
follow-through if it was targeted. Because a parent could bring the concern to the school. And,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think there's other ways that they need to look at how to do them.
All I'm asking is that there is, whether or not it's something that can be happen, what are the possibilities? And I will say honestly, my daughter did benefit heavily in third grade from this occurring, and so I probably have a very much personal interest vested in it. So I do recognize that as well. I don't think she'd be in school still, based on what had occurred at that point in time. So I do think it's something that we consider. I was lucky that we had the resources to be able to do so and resolve things. Not everybody does. So those are the sorts of things that I look at from a broader perspective as possibilities. And if it's a way that we know vision can impact children's learning, is there some way we can do it from the targeted pilot viewpoint? Exactly. So that's all I would say, is it's just something to consider.
Yeah. It did come up this time, this over the last few months to the Board of Health. They will not make a statement on it unless the legislature puts something into place. That's how they have to do it.
And that's fine.
Yeah. And so the key is working, again, with legislators. Sometimes mass screening seems to fit the whatever, but maybe they should at least be willing to look at some other options themselves.
All I would say is mass screening is not the only option.
Oh, I know.
So,
but if that's what they pass, that's what you end up doing. So that's the area.
I'm not looking to legislate it. I'm looking to see what do we do, and is there something that we could do that might address this issue in another way?
We might ask our nurses if they already do it with targeting. I mean, it may,
Yeah,
some of
this-
that may already be in
I wasn't aware that
place.
this was going to be raised or
Oh, no.
discussed
Yeah.
this evening, so I think it would be great if we could, have this conversation. I could get information about what we're doing currently and what are some of the, possibilities and challenges, and come back and potentially have that conversation in a study session and then with the board. I think that would be great.
Yeah. I think it'd be kind of interesting to know what we're doing too, that we don't, isn't mandated. And right now, vision screening is mandated the way we do it by the legislature. Okay, anything else?
That was it.
Okay. Any board follow-up or future agenda items, debrief items?
I
Chris?
actually, I'm quite sympathetic to the speaker on really basic education around Islam. I mean, we most of my kids could probably explain what Hanukkah is. Ramadan wouldn't be on their radar, much less the Hajj or anything else important to Islam. And I wanted to expand their concern actually to look at the middle school. It's 7th grade. We have the whole year is spent on comparative religion. They do a big project on Confucianism versus Taoism versus legalism, which is absolutely wonderful given that we have virtually nobody who adheres to any of those three religions in the district, and yet there is not a single chapter in the textbook on Islam, at least last time I looked. This is a big deal. I think I brought it up a year ago. I'm not sure I followed up on that, but I definitely want to push on that and working with them because they seem to understand, they're seeing from the user standpoint. This isn't just a mollify them, this is a community where I think we should work with them enthusiastically. What do we need to teach? How do we bring that piece in?
Got a little, I wasn't real clear because of what she wrote on here. So is it the education in the schoolhouse along with other religions, or was there a component about, she did mention something about a day off and times, so calendar things. So I got a little mixed if that was a piece of it too.
Yeah.
The education piece to me is a separate issue about than what we do about days off and can you and not do and.
Right.
Anyway, so if you could provide more
Yeah,
info.
as I shared with the board, we've been contacted, and a few of us have been in conversation both on the calendar part of the concern as well as on the curriculum part of and the activities part. So we're continuing to get more information and also to communicate about our timeline and process, both around how the curriculum gets developed and taught, and also how the calendar gets developed and communicated. So we're working to listen to what those concerns are, address what we can in the short term, and talk about what the longer term process is in terms of calendar development.
Yeah.
If you remember, too, we had the problem last year. I think that the awareness, the more we build up the awareness within the students and their families, the less likely we're going to have the conflicts we had last year where a PTSA set a practice ACT test on the very same day as the two high holy days for both. It was one of those rare years where both Islam
Came in
and
both?
Judaism hit the very same
Yeah.
day. It was like once every God knows how many years. And the PTSA was adamant about not budging, and thank goodness the administration for the school stepped in and really helped on that, because it really was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think that, we need to make sure that on our calendar, and it should be, and I think it is for, in a lot of ways, any of the high holy days for any of the major religions, or
I think that's,
even if there's minor religions practiced within our district, that those are days that major events aren't scheduled on. That's different from the issue of not having school
Yes.
on those days, because,
Yeah.
I mean, there are parts of the country where that happens, usually because half the kids would be out of school that day or something. That's never really been a factor in this part of the country. We don't have any
Yeah.
religious days, but the kids are allowed to have excused absences, or they better be.
could have a lot of days off as you start looking at the
But
various holidays.
But as far as the little Hanukkah book, that looked to me like something that maybe a parent did. I know when my kids were in elementary school around the winter holidays, it was the parents who were free to come in and teach about something that was part of their traditions. It wasn't something that the school was teaching. I'm not sure that we're doing comparative religion in the elementary school. I agree that where we are teaching comparative religion, you would think they would all be being covered.
Yeah.
One would hope.
But I'm not sure that in the elementary schools that's what's happening. So that would be part of trying to figure it out.
That's where
See
we
what-
are.
And how you
See
do
what they're
that.
doing. Yeah.
Because obviously, if a parent is coming in to talk about Hanukkah, another parent should be able to come in and talk about Ramadan or something.
But I think the key is the calendar, is to make sure the calendar is well marked of when those holidays are, and then the encouragement. And I know you're working on getting that out there. It's just everybody needing to remember to
And
look at the
just
calendar
to-
when they schedule things, it says, no, not today.
Why, we're
And just to
meeting this
clarify-
Monday instead of last
Yeah,
Monday.
That's right.
Nancy's right. Currently, we do mark, and we have good connections in the community with the faith community, and we do mark all high holy days of all major world religions, and they're on the calendar, and we ask that events aren't scheduled on those evenings. The days that we have students not attending school, those are federal holidays and not religious holidays. Now, Christmas happens to fall over winter break, but Easter Sunday, for example, or Good Friday, those are not days off. And so what we do is follow the federal. Now, I shared, there's other districts like in places across the country that have scheduled days off on major religious holidays, including Good Friday, including
New York City has that problem.
Yeah, Muslim. Mark's saying in New York City. So we're looking at all of just what is current practice, and then of
It's
course
not
we've got
some-
our calendar already developed through a process, getting family input, working collaboratively with our association. So we have, and communicating it well in advance. So the calendar piece is a process piece.
It's just
I
that,
suspect where you do have those districts that do have religious holidays, they are more back east, not in the west because of our constitutions. I think it's quite unusual. I know the school district where I was in Illinois, that was quite common. If you had, like I said, it was based on, volume. You don't have school if 50% of the kids are not going to be there. But
And
I
it's-
think in
it's
the West,
hard.
our constitutions, because of, I forget the name of that amendment that brought us to statehood, but we have a different type of constitution.
well, and it's hard when you have many different religions, to try to honor all of them with days off. And my thinking is the worst is who you miss in that whole piece, because then another group comes and says, so it's kind of a careful balance, but certainly we don't have to plan activities outside of the school day.
One of the problems we ran into last year with that situation was that there's two different calendars that we have. One that is widely seen and one that isn't. And apparently there was, it was on one and not the other. So it's that, and I'm sorry, Tracy, I don't recall the difference between the two names of the calendars and the purposes, but
So what we do have on the district website is we have a one-page calendar that it doesn't have all of that information.
Right.
And then we have the month-by-month calendar that has all of that information. So actually, we ask our staffs to look at both of those and provide that information to the PTSA, as well as we have a holidays and observances calendar that even gets into more detail about different cultural days or appreciation days, that all of those don't go on the month-by-month calendar, but they are on a companion piece that we provide as well. So we're, very committed to diversity in the district and to being mindful and sensitive to all of these issues. So as I said, we have been in communication with with parents on this issue and are continuing to, look at if there's things that we can do in the near term in terms of curriculum and those sorts of concerns, and then the longer term issue of the calendar and the process that we use to develop that.
And then you always have the other side who don't believe in religions and how they would react if days off. I mean, days off becomes a big topic, I think, to look at, that will take some real serious look at, considering the diversity of the community that we live in. Okay, any other debrief for board member comments? Hearing none. Our next meeting is October the 5th. We have a 5 p.m. executive session with a study session to follow at 5:30 on enrollment update and future planning, and then our regular board meeting will be at 7 p.m. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes, motion's in a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.